You're sitting at your kitchen table late at night. They are a snapshot in a moving river. The real question isn't how much you have. It's how lightly you can live when the current changes. Because it always does, and the people who understand that, they don't chase security anymore. They simply stop needing the illusion. Then the thought arrives, uninvited. What if none of it matters? What if the ground under your feet was never really ground at all? Most of us never let that thought finish. We close the app. We pour another drink. We go to bed believing tomorrow will still look like today. But tonight, we're not going to look away. We're going to look straight at the illusion of financial security. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. That's the uncomfortable promise of the next 25 minutes. Stay with me. Because the moment you understand how deep the illusion runs, something shifts, not in a loud, motivational way, in a quieter, heavier way. The kind that changes how you look at every paycheck, every purchase, every plan you've made. Let's begin with the problem that's hiding in plain sight. Right now, in 2026, millions of people who followed every rule are waking up anxious. They have the job, they have the savings, they have the responsible life. Yet the anxiety never leaves. Why? Because the cost of simply staying alive has quietly outrun their progress. Wages rise on paper, but after rent, groceries, insurance, and the thousand small things that used to be cheap, most families are running in place. Some are sliding backward so slowly they don't even notice until the slope gets steep. We've been sold a simple story since childhood. Work hard, save 10%, invest in the market, and one day you'll reach the shore called secure. The story feels fair. It feels logical. It feels like the way the world should work. But the story is broken. It was written for a different economy, an economy where a single income could buy a house, raise 3 kids, and still leave enough for retirement. That world is gone. What replaced it is more efficient, more relentless, and far less interested in your personal peace of mind. The psychological conflict is brutal. On one hand, you see the numbers and feel proud. On the other, you feel the quiet dread that something is slipping. You scroll past friends posting about new cars and vacations and wonder why your own life feels thinner. You tell yourself it's temporary. You tell yourself next year will be different. It rarely is. This isn't about laziness or bad choices. It's about millions of ordinary people doing exactly what they were told to do and still ending up uneasy. That unease is the first crack in the illusion. Now let's look at the system itself. Not the glossy version on television. The actual machinery. Money today is no longer a store of value. It's a tool of policy. Central banks create it when they need to stimulate growth, fight recessions, or keep asset prices from falling. They call it liquidity. You and I feel it as higher prices for everything that matters. It's not dramatic. It doesn't come with sirens. It arrives slowly, like fog rolling in at dusk. Your salary goes up 3%. Prices go up 4%. Your savings lose ground while you sleep. The entire economy now runs on debt. Governments borrow to fund programs. Corporations borrow to buy back their own shares and keep stock prices high. Banks create new money the moment you sign a mortgage or a car loan. They don't lend you someone else's savings. They type numbers into a computer and charge you interest on money that literally did not exist a minute earlier. This is not a flaw. This is the design. A debt-based system needs constant expansion. If borrowing slows, the machine stalls. So the incentives are perfectly aligned against you saving too much or spending too little. Advertising, credit cards, subscription services, social media. They all whisper the same thing. Buy now. Live now. Tomorrow will take care of itself. Imagine a river. You're swimming upstream, trying to reach the calm water ahead. But the current is the system itself. Every time you pause to rest, the water pulls you back. The river doesn't hate you. It simply has no interest in letting you stand still. That's the system. Cold, logical, and completely indifferent to your retirement dreams. Now we come to the part most people skip. The hidden mechanics. The math that quietly undoes decades of effort. Let's use numbers so plain they hurt. Suppose you are 35 years old and you need $60,000 a year to live the life you consider decent. Not luxury, just decent. Groceries, rent or mortgage, car, health insurance, a little travel, some buffer for the kids. Financial planners will tell you to aim for 25 times your annual expenses by retirement. That's the famous 4% rule. So you need $1.5 million. Sounds big, but possible. Now, fast forward 30 years. Inflation averages 3%. That $60,000 becomes roughly $145,000 in future money just to buy the same things. Your nest egg now needs to be closer to $3.5 million in tomorrow's dollars to generate the same lifestyle. Your investments, if they perform at historical averages after fees and taxes, might get you there on paper. But paper has never paid a hospital bill. Here's what the spreadsheets never show you. Sequence of returns risk. If the market drops 30 or 40% in the first 3 years of your retirement, you are forced to sell low to pay living expenses. The account never recovers the same way. Many people who retired in 2000 or 2008 discovered this the hard way. They watched their secure number shrink by half while their costs kept rising. Taxes take another bite. Capital gains. Required minimum distributions. The government wants its share of the growth it helped inflate, and then life happens. A parent gets sick. A child needs help. Your roof needs replacing. A global event spikes food and energy prices again. The math looks orderly. Reality is chaotic. Most people never reach even the first million. Recent data shows the median retirement balance for Americans in their early 60s sits well under $300,000. For millions, it's under $100,000. They worked 35 years. They followed the advice. And the system extracted more than it returned. That is not failure. That is the hidden arithmetic of the game. Let's talk about the hype that keeps the illusion alive. Open any social app and you'll see it. Young faces promising financial freedom before 40. Charts. Lamborghinis rented for the thumbnail. Passive income streams that sound effortless. The message is seductive. The system is broken, but you can hack it. Just follow my strategy. Buy this asset. Start this side hustle. Retire early and travel forever. Millions buy the dream. They leverage themselves into real estate. They pour savings into meme coins and hot stocks. They quit stable jobs for the creator economy. Then the cycle turns. Markets correct. Algorithms change. Interest rates rise. The influencer disappears or pivots to selling a new course on how to survive the crash. The data is merciless. The vast majority of people who try to beat the market underperform simple index funds over time. Day trading? Over 90% lose money long term. Crypto? Fortunes appear and vanish in months. The winners, you see, are the survivors who got lucky at the right moment. The losers don't post. Meanwhile, lifestyle inflation does its quiet work. You earn more, so you spend more. Bigger house, better car, private school, the vacations that prove you've made it. Your net worth barely moves. But your Instagram looks perfect. This is the trap. The system doesn't need to force you. It simply lets you choose the prettier cage. The real outcome for most people who chase the hype is the same as those who never tried. They reach their 50s or 60s tired, still working and wondering where the time went. The difference is the ones who chase the hype carry extra regret. They believed they were smarter than the game. The game just smiled and collected its fees. Now we reach the deepest layer. The psychological truth. Even when people see the numbers, even when they understand the system, most still cannot change. Why? Because our minds were never built for this. We evolved to survive immediate threats in small groups. A lion in the grass, a rival tribe, food that might spoil tomorrow. We are terrible at trading pleasure today for safety 30 years from now. That's not weakness. That's biology. We hate uncertainty more than we hate bad odds. So we cling to the illusion of control. A balanced portfolio, a budget spreadsheet, a financial advisor who nods and says, "You're on track." It feels better than admitting the truth. No amount of planning can remove the risk that life will simply happen. We tie our identity to status and possessions. Admitting the illusion threatens who we think we are. Better to keep pretending than to face the possibility that we've spent decades climbing the wrong ladder. And denial is comforting. It lets us sleep. It lets us tell our children the same story we were told. Even the clearest thinkers among us feel the pull. I've spoken with hedge fund managers who understand every mechanic I've described tonight. They still buy the bigger house. They still worry when the market drops. Knowledge is cheap. Rewiring emotion is expensive. That is the final darkest part of the illusion. It doesn't just fool the ignorant. It fools everyone who needs to believe they are safe. So, where does that leave us? There is no neat resolution, no perfect portfolio that defeats the system, no secret strategy that guarantees peace. The illusion is too well designed. The incentives are too strong. Human nature is too stubborn. But seeing it clearly changes the question. Instead of asking, "How do I become financially secure?" you start asking something quieter. What kind of life can I build that doesn't depend on the illusion? Maybe it's smaller. Maybe it's slower. Maybe it's less impressive to others. But it might be more honest. The future will still be uncertain. Markets will still crash. Inflation will still erode. Life will still surprise you. That was always true. The only difference now is that you know it. So tonight, when you close this video and open your bank app again, look at the numbers with new eyes. They are not a fortress. They are a snapshot in a moving river. The real question isn't how much you have. It's how lightly you can live when the current changes. Because it always does. And the people who understand that, they don't chase security anymore. They simply stop needing the illusion. Think about that. I'll see you in the next one.